Chamber Chief Executive is with us. And Patrick, let me ask you, I mean, you've heard the details of this. From the BDC's point of view, what's your view on this? I mean, we go to the pumps, we see the prices, fluctuating quite significantly. Well, what's your view on this from the BDC's point of view?
Thank you for the opportunity and good evening to our listeners. I think we need to look at this analysis, and there are certain form of misinformation and misappropriation of data that has been skewed to inform the discussion from your preliminary discussion. One, I want to make it clear, no BDC set up to buy from Boston. And none of our members appreciate what is currently going, whereby they want to superimpose Boston on our operations and our activities. I want to pick on the issues that Dr. Provenza has even raised. It's a typical example of diagnosing somebody who is suffering from maybe cancer or any form of disease. If you skew the data and look at it from a situation whereby you don't do a holistic analysis of the situation, you tend to come up with those knee-jerk reactions whereby you want to treat an aspect of the problem. Like he said, there are multiple factors that causes our currency to depreciate. So the government intervention of picking on the oil side of it, clearly the last data or the past few weeks or months have clearly demonstrated that it's not actually the reality. Go back to the document when they were starting the Gold for Oil. They said the main objectives were two: to lower pump prices and to stabilize the local currency against the major trading currency. Have we achieved this? And this is where we want all of us here and then listening to look at the problem holistically.
What do you say to those who say, and I think Adrian Provenza makes a point, that without the Gold for Oil, it has been worse than it is currently?
You know something, Evans? I'm glad that at least three of us here are all PhD holders. And if all of us have done multiple regression, you want to be able to predict the exact impact which of these variables is making a significant contribution to it or not. We should look at the data and speak to it. And now let me cite even the international prices. I remember at the initial stages, we did mention that not any government in Ghana can actually influence the prices of petroleum products. And we said, when you want to play politics with petroleum pricing, it will expose you. And currently, the international prices and the exchange rate has indicated that. Let me tell you, in February, when the first consignment of G4O came in, if you check the international price for diesel, it was 854. As I'm speaking to you now, the international price of the product has even gone down 11%, which is 756.82. Clearly, the international price has gone down, but the exchange rate is the key issue. You look at the time, at the same time, the exchange rate was 11.8. The CD has depreciated. So with this intervention, if you are to do a careful analysis of all these variables that we are talking about, I want us to speak to the data and let data and objective scientific analysis inform the discussion.
But based on that data, what's your verdict then on the Gold for Oil?
Based on that data, nobody can clearly say emphatically that had it not been that, it could have caused this. You are talking about even the power sector and its contribution. So why is it that if the Gold for Oil is the panacea to it, then we should have gold for power so that ECG and all the IPPs also see their cities to the central bank, for the central bank to buy gold and then give the resulting forest to them to solve it, rather than looking at the oil side. Because basically, the sad reality is that majority of the downstream players are Ghanaians. And that is why, even in the midst of this, alongside, they will pinpoint and skew and say that they would want to support the crude outside of it, but not to supply the whole market, the forest required for that. Also, back to his own analysis, that bust after importing all these, to 30 to 40% of the product that have been supplied to the market. Clearly also gives you a clear indication that had it not been the private sector, that 40% and 30% that bust have supplied through the G4O program, they could have still have been a short a shortage that the private sector, the private BDCs are funding, of which
but why, Doc? Patrick, why are you not taking...
Evans, let me make my point. I will let you come on.
Okay.
We are talking about the series of issues. People's business are collapsing. That is why we are staying awake to address the issue once and for all. Of which the 20% that the private sector get the forest cover from, they go to the market to still buy at a commercial rate. Ask Bost, what rate has he been getting from the central bank under the G4O? And ask the private sector that is supplying even the 60% or so, what rate are they going to the commercial bank to get? You create such imbalances in the economy, you erode the gains that the government that we all know is supposed to be pro-private sector is causing to its own indigenous Ghanaian companies that have been set up. A lot of them are collapsing, and this is the reality on the ground. And
you mean BDCs?
Yes, because the numbers... we were preparing this thing for the forecast for the coming window. Whereas Bank of Ghana is guaranteeing for us at 14.11. Even if you are taking it, you are quoting spot of 14.8. We were even quoting forward, monthly forward from some of our banks that we've been lucky, that they were giving it to us 14.65. You do that and do the weighted average, you are supposed to get an exchange rate that will be coming to the market. It will be 14.56 to make us a bit competitive. Most of them are taking a hit to ensure that the economy runs.